And now I'm going to give you a brief history of Ningnan University's visual study program. So we, basically introduced this program in response to the Hong Kong government's request because the new cultural policy emphasized more on arts and culture development. And then, so in about 2005, Ningnan University's Department of Philosophy actually introduced the first bachelor degrees in visual studies. And then later on, in 2009, visual study became a standalone department. And then, so at the very beginning, we only had 2 professors running the program. But now we have about 6 full-time faculty members with some other part-time, instructors to teach courses on art history, film studies, media art, aesthetics, and other studio practice courses. And then, so we concern very much about teaching and research. And so in the previous years, actually, we had already got 4 PhD graduates, 6 MPhil graduates, and many of them, they conduct research on art history, community art, independent films, museum education, and some other subject related to 20th century Chinese painting. So at the moment, we still have 1 PhD student and 1 MPhil student working on their research projects. And so both of them are actually working on 20th century Chinese art. And here you can see the lovely pictures of our faculty members. And as you can see, we are quite international. We have honorary professor from Denmark, and she's now based in the University of Copenhagen. And she's also a very outstanding scholar in film studies. Our department had Professor Raphael de Klerk from Belgium. He mainly teach courses on aesthetics, philosophy of photography, philosophy of architectures, and also would collaborate with Professor Sophia Law to teach courses related to origins and functions of art. So Sophia and I are specialists in Chinese art, and so she also expand her research on art and well-being. And I normally would take a cross-cultural perspective into art history, and I also teach museum studies. So Professor Jonathan from America, so he first joined us in September this year, and he's a scholar in films, video games, and cognitive film studies, and so he has a very interdisciplinary background. And finally, we have Miss So Iso, who is the new media artist, and she normally would teach a studio practice course including light art, electronic art, and digital media. But Zoe, she also offer a course on Hong Kong art for students from any disciplines at Ningnan. And next semester, actually, we will have another new chair professor. She would mainly conduct research and teach courses on film studies, including Hong Kong, Taiwanese, and other Asian movies and independent films. So we really look forward to that. As you probably have heard of what I've mentioned in the brief introductions, the visual study program actually is highly interdisciplinary because we focus on historical, theoretical, and practical-based training. And that encompasses, many different disciplines, including architecture, photography, film, design, comics, and some other media issues. And what we focus on is, students' abilities of critical thinking, and then also their, skills in visual literacy and analysis. And then these are also some of the bigger categories of the programs. And you can see history of Asian Western arts, cognitive film studies, aesthetics, art and well-being, environmental studies, and also some other creative practice. So we want students to have at least some sorts of hands-on experience of creating artworks, and they will be able to learn from practicing artists from Hong Kong and abroad. So I want to emphasize arts and well-being and environmental studies are actually the unique courses Ningnan offered to our visual studies students, and not many other universities in Hong Kong actually have courses like this. So students would be able to learn about the environment, the life issues in relation to what we have, encounter with art. And so this is something quite meaningful, and I will further explain it in other slides. So the course structures actually is pretty straightforward. As you can see, normally students, they would take 4 foundation courses, including history of Chinese and Western arts, film studies, and philosophy of visual arts. And then they would be able to choose elective courses related to visual studies subjects. And they also have other credits for taking free elective, like courses offered by other faculties. And in the program, we also allow students to take internship and some other projects. So if students, they can attain certain GPA, like 3.3, it means that they are really outstanding student. They have the potential to pursue a further degree, especially, on research program. Then direct research projects actually will only be given to students who can attain certain high GPA. And then once they are committed to this direct research project, it means that they have finished 2 courses, right? So it was actually like 6 credits program, and then they're going to write a dissertation of about 10,000 words, and then 1 faculty members will normally supervise the projects. But for internship, we have a coordinator to inform students the internship opportunities, and then they will also be able to choose where they want to work, whether they want to take credits or they would simply want to gain work experience. So service learning is something we embedded in some of the courses, like at art and well-being. And I will show you pictures later on and see how students can apply the course subjects into the social services. So it is quite different from voluntary work, which could be unrelated to the course subject, but for service learning, it is closely related to the course curriculum. And then, the service students are going to contribute to a partner, community partner, actually would be considered part of the assessment. So they will be assessed by both the instructor and the community partners.